past decade has seen developed countries benefit from technological progression. These developments are now flowing through to developing countries too, including Vietnam. Vietnam's next phase of economic development will need to be closely tied to productivity and efficiency gains driven by technology.
The key thing that creates productivity growth is technological change and technological advancements. They basically allow us to do more with less, and this is why and how we build wealth and grow economies. During COVID-19, we've seen the ramp up of the use of digital technologies, online retail, telehealth, telework. A vast array of digital technologies have been used, and this is likely to fuel productivity growth in the post-COVID environment as these technologies continue to get used and developed.
Vietnamese firms are increasingly adopting technology, including digital ones, too, to improve their efficiency and competitiveness. We see a continuation of technology progress in Vietnam over the past decades, even during the pandemic. Businesses in Vietnam are also increasingly investing in research and development. In 2019, Vietnam's businesses contributed around 64% to the national R&D expenditure, a level compatible with those of Singapore, Korea, and China. These efforts to deploy technologies have been considered vital in making businesses competitive and leading to sustainable growth. Having a reliable measure of technology adoption is critical in guiding future policy and investment decisions in Vietnam. But how to measure or track technological progress and its impact on productivity? In a joint venture between Vietnam's Ministry of Science and Technology, CSIRO's Data 61, and the University of Queensland, we explored how technology creation and adoption could impact Vietnam's future economic growth. We first developed a model to look at how worker productivity is impacted by technology adoption. Next, we explored the overall impact of R&D investment to economic growth using a dynamic general equilibrium framework. We found that technology adoption has been the main driver of growth in Vietnam over the past 20 years. In the early 2000s, capital intensity, or the amount of physical capital investment, was the main driver of economic growth in Vietnam. But in recent years, this balance has shifted. Technology adoption, measured by the amount of investment in new machinery, training, and buying intangible assets, is now the leading driver of economic growth, suggesting a stronger role of technology in creating new economic opportunities. In the 2015 to 2019 period, technology adoption contributed more than half to average productivity growth in Vietnam. Another source of productivity gain comes from industry leaders who develop and apply world-leading technologies. However, the impact is much smaller, about 10%, compared to that of technology adoption across the majority of firms in the economy. The model results also show how Vietnamese firms struggle to change their organization's structure, culture, and strategies to keep up with technology adoption. Vietnam could increase by 23% in productivity increase if these managerial and organizational barriers could be overcome. This aligns with World Bank finding that Vietnam has scope to improve business management practices, and the government should prioritize management skills for technology adoption impact. In the report, we also present how technology adoption impacts different sectors and business types in Vietnam's economy. Metal manufacturing, food and beverage processing, healthcare, and ICT service are the top sectors that benefit from widely adopting technologies. Agriculture, retail and wholesale, or accommodation and food service, on the other hand, still rely mainly on increasing physical capital to improve labor productivity. Readers can find a detailed analysis of each sector in the appendix of the report. Within sectors, FDI firms, in general, tend to rely more on leading firms to drive productivity growth. Foreign companies in labor-intensive sectors such as garment or footwear, however, increase productivity mainly by investing more in physical capital. Private firms, on average, have lower productivity but higher productivity growth rate and tend to benefit more from technology adoption. Although technology adoption will be a key factor in Vietnam's future growth, merely imitating existing technology will not be sufficient. Active and ongoing investment in innovation, research and development activities will be critical for Vietnam to keep pace with other developing nations. In the next part of the report, we forecast the impact of R&D investment on GDP growth out to 2045 using a dynamic general equilibrium framework. In particular, we investigate the impact under two scenarios. In the first scenario, R&D expenditure reached 2% of total GDP by 2030, a target set by the Vietnamese government. This implies a 20.9% annual growth over the next 10 years. In second scenario, the R&D expenditure growth rate is equal to 24.2%. This is the level similar to Korea during the initial stage of development. The model shows that under the two scenarios, the increase in R&D expenditure allows Vietnam's economy to grow by 12% and 15% respectively by 2045. The potential gains in real consumption and investment are also significant in both scenarios. In both scenarios, the impact of R&D investment is more apparent after 10 years of investment. This confirms the long-term value of investing in technology innovation for Vietnam's future economic growth. Results from the two models have clearly shown the impact of technology on the Vietnamese economy. But technology adoption is not an easy task. To benefit from technology, firms not only need to invest more in technology but also improve their abilities to absorb that technology. In Vietnam, different levels of technological absorptive capabilities and thus different models of technology deployment and different impacts of technology adoption are likely to coexist. At the simplest level, firms with limited skills mainly import technology packages which include both machines, product specification, know-how, and technical support from abroad. As technical capability improved, firms can start to imitate standardized foreign products, and start reverse engineering and make minor process improvements. At the next level, local firms invest more in R&D and start designing copies, improving, and adapting foreign products to the Vietnamese market. The products created by local firms now have their brand names and unique specification and created high market value. Leading firms that have sufficient capabilities develop and adopt world-class technologies. These firms invest heavily in R&D and introduce new products or processes that can compete internationally. There is a high chance of leapfrogging as these firms have late entry advantages and better understanding of the growing market. So what does Vietnam need to do to realize these potential futures? The report presents 5 groups of policy actions to increase the impact of technology adoption and creation in Vietnam. Improving technology adoption among businesses. Improving the technical capabilities of the workforce. Promoting R&D and emerging technologies. Develop worker capabilities. Developing policy instruments to track and monitor the impact of technology developments and adoption. Vietnam is in a prime position to accelerate its next wave of economic growth, powered by new and existing technologies. Together with strong leadership and collaboration across government and business, Vietnam can leapfrog into its next phase of development.